I am Henry Ikwang, a DBA student at California Intercontinental University, CIU, majoring in entrepreneurship and business management. Yinson is an MNC, which is a multinational company with core competencies in energy infrastructure and technology. The global headquarters of the company is located at Kuala Lumpur. You can see the senior management staff of Yinson. You can see they're all diverse. You can see the group chief executive officer. He's male, he's Malaysian, and he's 37 years old. And we also see a 65-year-old Malaysian. And we have a British, David Charles Brunt. He's 58 years old. We also have a Danish, Mr. Fleming Groningen. He's 51 years old. And we have a female, British. She's 49, and she's Mrs. Louisa Rachel Brady. We also have the Chief Executive Officer Offshore Marine, Mr. Lim Chen Wu. We also have a Singaporean, he's 40, and his name is Mr. Daniel Bong Ming N. We also have the Group General Counsel, he's 57 years old, he's Singaporean, and his name is Mr. Andrew Choi Wen Nung. And we also have a French Group Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Guillaume Francois Gest. And we also have a male Group Chief Vice President, New Ventures and Technology. He's 50 years old, and his name is Mr. Eric Ann Wold Barclay. We have a Chief Operating Officer, Offshore Production. His name is Mr. Rolf Martin Norman. He's Norwegian, he's male, and he's 55 years old. Strategic planning is the act of creating short-term and long-term plans to take a company from where it is today to where its owners would like it to be. And we have domestic businesses can make do with a single overarching strategic plan to guide their efforts. International businesses must make a choice between developing a single comprehensive strategic plan, different strategic plans for different markets, or a combination of both. We have a comparison between domestic and international strategy, institutional analysis. There we see the SWOT analysis, which is the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We also look at the statements. That's the financial statements, the group financial highlights for Yinson. You can see that in 2008, the revenue was 910 Malaysian ringgit. It improved in 2019 to 10335. In 2020, it moved to 2519, and it almost doubled that in 2021. And we are still in 2022, and we are already on 3607 Malaysian ringgit. So it's like the company is moving in the right direction. We can see responsibility, corporate social responsibility of the company. You can see promoting quality education and effective learning, promoting education through sports, providing skills improvements and training opportunities to meet the demands in the energy industry, and promoting environmental conservation and rehabilitation. We can also see the objectives: create long-term positive outcome in our communities and environment, create shared value between Yinson and the community and the environment, and also be a corporate leader in the community where we operate, and encourage Yinson employees to actively participate in CSR responsibilities. Here are the Yinson's goals. They have the goals of establishing green technologies as a major revenue stream of the company. They also have one of their goals is also to develop profitable, disruptive businesses based on clean technologies and digitalization. And they also have a long-term plan to achieve a net zero business. And see the challenges of cost, benefits and risk of a particular market. The benefits: access to customers. Under the cost, you see the lowering cost, and you have you can see lowering cost offshore has become a popular means of trying to reduce costs. This approach involves relocating the business activity to another country. For example, many Canadians and U.S. companies, try to create opportunities in other countries, like China and India, that offer cheap or cheaper labor. Okay, under risk, we have risk. We have the cultural risk. We have under joint venture and strategic alliance. We have in strategic alliance, we have two or more parties agree to terms and can seal the deal with no more than a handshake. While in the strategic alliance, you have the two or more companies remain separate entities. Okay, in a joint venture, a new entity is formed, while a strategic alliance is not considered a separate legal entity, while the joint venture is. Under strategic alliance is usually managed by representatives of both companies. Okay, new management is usually found for a joint venture, while in strategic alliance, you see the strategic alliance is often forged to maximize the benefits and opportunities that both companies bring to the table. In a joint venture, the emphasis is often on limiting risk. That's for that. Yinson, forms a joint venture with Plus Energy to develop 250 megawatts of solar projects. Okay, you can see that the joint venture will strategically leverage Yinson's network worldwide presence and experience in the energy space, as well as Plus Energy's strength as a leading solar PV system provider and engineering, procurement, construction, and commissioning, which is EPCC contractor in Malaysia. And look at the policy decision. Under policy decision, the concept of diversity, equity, and inclusion are new, but recent shift in culture has brought them to the forefront, has shown how far we still must go. It's up to the organization to pick up the baton and continue the progress, not only because diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is DEI, ultimately benefit their bottom line, but also because consumers now expect increased level of social responsibility as a norm. Companies with greater gender diversity are 50% more likely to show higher financials compared to their respective national industry medians, according to McKinsey and Company. You can see that we got our source. To have organizations in the top quartile of ethnic and cultural diversity on executive teams were 33% more likely to have industry leading for profitability, according to McKinsey and Company. Okay, and then majority, which is 67% of active passive job seekers, say that when evaluating organizations and job offers, it is important to them that the organizations have a diverse workforce, according to Glasgow. Diversity, Yinson's diversity, equality, and inclusion policy. Okay, this is exactly what how Yinson feels about diversity, equality, and inclusion. The diversity, equality, and inclusion policy is intended to address how Yinson Holdings behind and all the subsidiary companies, which is groups, intend to set out an approach to achieve equity, diversity, and inclusion across the business, communities, and with all stakeholders. Thank you, everyone, for your attention and cooperation.